I'll pop the popcorn.
I'll bring the wine.
It's about to
In
happen.
his perfect time
Our very own goal.
is to intoxicate your
It's the
system
work week wind down
with
with
me,
and
HDN.
pearls of wisdom.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, yo. Here we go, here we go, here we go, yo. Listen, episode 4. This is episode 4. Thank you for rocking with us.
Yes.
Thank you for subscribing.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We are not doing this for ourselves because we sit and we have girl talk often with popcorn and wine,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
And we want to be able to pour into you how he pours into us.
Yes.
So we're being utilized. With that said, did you know that you were stripped for purpose? Yeah, think about that for a minute. Stripped for purpose. How many times did you step out trying to do something for yourself or something that you thought you wanted to do, you needed to do? You need to make these decisions because you have other varying factors that causes you to want to resolve and control what it is that you can. But sometimes you may step outside of the box thinking that that is the thing to do.
Right.
You go out to do it, and you're blocked.
God blocked it. He would let it be so. And to that end, let me tell you about the time God blocked it.
Girl, I'm ready for it. I'm waiting. Are y'all ready for this?
I told this story in church one day.
Okay.
I was led to share the story, and I'm telling you, it was amazing. It was amazing. But I'm gonna share it now. So back in the day, before I got married,
Back in the day when I was young, I'm not sure.
thank God,
No,
growth needed to happen.
no,
I'm not
some
a
days I
kid,
still wish I was a kid
and
again.
some days I don't. Just be honest. I'm grateful.
She said, nope, nope, nope.
No, because we'll talk about that in a later episode. As far
Okay.
as everybody has their own stories, right?
Yep. Fair,
And
fair,
I
fair.
alluded to trauma in my childhood, and I don't want to relive my.
She, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good. But let me tell this story, right? So you talk about being stripped for purpose. Back in the day when I was hanging out with my girls, it was my god sister, our cousin. She's really like my play cousin, but she's my god sister's actual cousin. But since that's my god sister and she's her cousin, she's my cousin too, and
Oh, she
period.
family.
Because
Okay.
listen, at the end of the day, that's how we acknowledge each other. Even to this day, we're cousins. So, and cousin had some friends, right? And some friends, they were, they were out there in them streets. We thought we were out there in them streets, but cousin's friends they were out there in the streets, right? And so I remember a period of time where we thought we were really grown. Okay. I think we were about 18, maybe 19. I think we were about 19 years old. And we thought we were grown. And I remember having fallen on hard times, not just myself, but it was a few of us in the crew. So it was my
Okay.
god sister, myself, our cousin, and cousin's friends. It was a few of them. And I can't remember all of their names, not that I'm calling names, but one of the friends was a stripper. And we needed money. We needed, listen, I'm a single mother. Um, you know, I needed money. I'm gonna tell my story. Maybe one day I'll invite my family on for them to share their part. But this is my memory. So back then in needing money, I was, struggling a little bit, and I was also in school. I feel like I've been in school all my life, I promise you. And I was in school working on my associate's degree. And my daughter needed Pampers, it was like towards the middle end of the month, and I didn't have, food stamp benefits, and my welfare had run out because I was only getting like 300 and something dollars back then. And my welfare had run out. And I needed some Pampers. And, sometimes pride can come before the fall, right? That's what the word says. And so my pride wouldn't let me go and ask my mom if, I could have a few dollars so I can get some Pampers for my daughter. And so I ended up linking up with my god sister, our cousin, and some of the friends, and one of the friends was a stripper. And she was like, "Well, I know how we can get some money real quick." And I was like, my ears like, "How?" And so, child, we hopped up on a train. We hopped up on a train on the PATH train to go into New York City, and we went to her strip club. And so we get to the door. Now, it's a few of us. So I'm probably like one of the last ones to go in. It was myself and my god sister, like one of the last ones. And we dressed like to you couldn't tell us nothing. Everybody on the train was looking at us like, where they going? You know, and we're dressed to the nines. Like dressed to the nines. So we get to the club, and my cousin's friends, they had gone in. And so then it was time for my cousin, myself, and my god sister to go in. And I kid you not, the bouncer was like, "Nah," stopped us dead in our tracks. Meanwhile, the other girls went inside already. The bouncer stopped us dead in our "Nah, not y'all." And so we looked at each other like, "Well, what do you mean, not us?" Because we, in our minds, we going to make money, like some maybe a quick couple $100.
Wait, was this like tryout night or like what
Like
was this?
amateur
Everything
night?
yeah, well, I
I
don't know what
think
they
it
call it,
was.
but
I think it was. I think so the one friend of my cousin's who was the stripper at that particular club, I think she had mentioned something about, sometimes they have amateur night. And so, yeah, it was amateur night. So, we called ourselves on amateur night, figuring we can go and make a couple of $100 because, we couldn't tell us we weren't. I'm going to use the language and the idioms from my day. You couldn't tell us we weren't fly because we were fly.
she
Okay.
said she was a fly girl. Oh, okay.
Listen.
She was a fly girl.
And we went, and when he stopped the three of us, we instantly got an attitude like, "Hold up, why can't we come in?" And he said, "No, not y'all three." And so we were like, "What do you mean, not us three? You let the other girls go in. Why can't we come in?" He said, "Nah, not y'all three. Y'all go ahead on home or wherever you going, but not here."
Okay, so let me ask this question, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Because I know on one of the other episodes, I was like, like I was business attire dress,
mhm.
right? So I'm fly in my business attire. Did y'all think y'all were fly, but y'all were really like church girl fly? Like, what was going on?
Oh, so you wanna see
Describe
how
that
we were dressed. I got you.
because
So
maybe
I
he
know for
stopped you.
me,
He stopped y'all because he was like,
church girls. No, we didn't come in with the long skirts down to our ankles and our doilies on our head and long
of course
sleeves.
not.
We ain't come like that. So we got dressed to go to the club, like short, mini skirts, like super short. I'm 5'11", so I had my daughter, so I had a little curve to me. So you couldn't tell me I wasn't fly. And I can't remember what my family was wearing, but I can tell you what I was wearing. And I had on my little halter top, tube top, right? Just a little
Okay.
tube top, little mini skirt, perfume. My hair was like on, kids used to say fleek. I don't think they say that anymore. Y'all still say fleek? Probably not. But my hair was on fleek. Oh, I don't care. I'm dating myself. Uh, I was done. I was done up. And I couldn't understand. I don't know what was going on in their mind. And I'm sure if they were here on this podcast, they'd be talking about this particular memory from their perspective. But in my mind, like, I'm a fly girl. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know I look good. I smell good. I showered before I left. Like, what is the problem? Like,
Okay, one more interruption.
no, it's okay.
Okay, so I'm a reader.
Uh huh.
Back in the day, I loved urban reads.
Uh,
So were you like the fly girl that was like in Omar Tyree book? Fly girl?
Girl, I don't know that author.
Okay, never mind. Okay, side note.
Give me a character. Describe her.
Similar to how you describe you were dressed.
Well, then, yes, to answer your question. And that part. Okay.
All that. Okay, got
All
it.
of that.
Okay, okay, okay.
I stayed having making sure my hair was done, my nails were done. Like, there was no reason in my mind that this bouncer would not let us in.
Hair done, nail done. Okay, never mind.
What movie is that?
That was the song. That's
What's
the
the
song.
song? What song?
I don't know. You know what? I can't even think about it right now. But like
But
the
anyway,
title of it, yeah, it was like hair's done, nails done.
I don't even know. I don't even know where you're going with that. It's okay. It's okay. Somebody gonna know where you're going with that. I just don't.
'Cause y'all know, like, I
Period.
mean, I'm a little, never mind. Just go ahead, finish your story. Go
So,
ahead.
needless to say,
I'm lis
um, needless to say, when he blocked us, we instantly got an attitude, like I said, but we turned around and we had to figure out how we were gonna get back home. Because the girls we came with, like, we rode on the train with them. They knew how to get back and navigate. They knew what to do. We didn't. You know, we from New Jersey. We don't know anything about New York
They weren't
subway.
really about that life.
We
That's
were
what that was.
not
They weren't about
about
that
that
life. No, no, no. You gotta
because
say it like they weren't about that life.
we
Not
weren't we weren't about that life. Because
no, no, we
what?
weren't. We weren't about that. We weren't about that
What
life.
she said in that part, right? We
Because we speak we are now
get it out. Come on.
we are speaking to a diverse audience
Mhm.
here,
Mhm.
so we'd like to capture them all.
Mhm.
So although in this lifestyle, in this season, in this
So we code switching right
era
now.
of our life,
Uh-huh.
no, we're just pulling out different facets of
Oh,
ourselves,
I care because
right?
we talked about that episode
Okay,
1.
look, she tried it,
Episode I
right?
did
So I'm
and
just
did
saying, she said, "Well, I wasn't about that life." Nah, chick, you wasn't about that life.
that
Okay, go
part.
ahead. I'm back.
So
She back.
he sent us on our way. So now we're trying to figure out how do we navigate this train system to get back home, right? So we figured it out. We had to ask a lot of questions, but we were on the train mad,
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 mad.
mad because our expectancy was that we were going to leave the strip club and have some money for what we needed the money for. The outcome really was that we had no money. In fact, now we got less money because now we got to spend money to get back on the train that we didn't have to begin with to get there.
Oh.
But in our minds, we went with the expectancy that we were going to make money, but that wasn't the outcome. So now we got to figure out, scrape our little pennies back together, get on this train and get back home. So basically, the long short of the story is that what we thought was an offense to us, because I'm telling you, we were definitely offended that we couldn't get in that club and you know, make some money. Okay. Um, but really it was God redirecting us, God blocking some things in our lives that we ourselves had no idea what he was doing at the time.
Yeah.
We had no, when I tell you, so we went from thinking we were gonna be strippers.
She got stripped.
Well, we got blocked from stripping to be stripped for purpose.
Wait, but where they do that at? Oh, in God's house. Okay, I just wanted to.
We got blocked from stripping to be stripped for purpose. Come on. And so I shared this story, like I said, in church one Sunday, and one of the members came up to me and said, you know, not that particular day, she said it to me a little while later, but she said, you know, God blocked you from that um, for us.
Wow.
Because, I was the advisor for the women's ministry, at my church, and so she said that, you know, she had all the women stand up in the church, and this particular Sunday, they were honoring me, and when they all stood up, she said, "What do you see?" And I said, if I recall, I said, "Beauty and love," or something like that. And she said, "These are all the women." She said, "And I won't tell your story." She said, "But," and I knew what she was saying because I ended up chuckling. She said, "But I
Mm.
won't tell your story, but God blocked you from that for all of us, all of the
Wow.
women that you would impact." And it was in that moment, that particular moment right then and there, that I began to illuminate even brighter. Like, it
Shine
was
bright like a
so much
diamond.
it was so much revelation that happened at that moment, and I knew that he blocked me from stripping to be stripped for
Purpose.
purpose, and it was his purpose, and so he, uh, stripped me for purpose, with purpose, on purpose, and with purpose in mind.
That's dope. That is dope. So, so dope. I'm just thinking like all of the people out there who are doing what they think is necessary
Mhm,
so they can get to the next thing
mhm,
and how they feel when it fails,
right,
not realizing
come on,
that they are being stripped for
for
purpose
purpose.
as well,
Yeah,
or how many times they're going to continue to go back and revisit some of those same things that don't serve them,
mhm,
not yet still realizing that it is really not for them.
right, right,
So yeah, this is a good story
yes,
funny, and I know I have the giggles and whatever. But I think this is a perfect story to share
Yeah.
with our viewers and soon to be viewers because, we never know. See, this is the good thing about social media and like podcasting, right?
Mhm.
This video is going to be out there. This video is out there now, right? The people that see it today might not be the same people that see it tomorrow, next week, next month, 6 months down the line, or a year from now.
Mhm.
This story is going to touch somebody and they're going to realize their purpose. They're going to understand why that thing did not work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when they really become in tune with the spirit or just release themselves and surrender,
Yeah.
that's when they're
That
really going to
part.
get it.
That part.
That's when they're going to get it.
That part.
They're
You
going
talk
to,
about surrendering. And so through the process, right? I was the only driver of the crew.
okay.
So, I kind of talked about this in those relationships,
Yep.
in the
Yep.
last
I remember.
episode, right? And I was the driver of the crew. And so, for me, um, you know, I didn't drive into New York City. It was, feasible financially for us to jump on a train,
Makes sense.
versus tolls and gas and parking and all of that.
Although it was a lot cheaper back then.
Definitely a lot cheaper,
Okay. You know what? Never mind. Not
but
the, not the age thing. Not
the
the age
economy
thing.
might have been different, but the cost at that time still mirrored what the
Mm,
economy is now. So you make more money now, but everything costs more.
got
So, at the end of the
yeah.
day, the money was still not moneying for us. That's why we was trying to go strip. Okay.
Not money.
And
Okay.
and God was like, nope,
Nope and nope again.
because I know the plans I have for you.
Says the
Come
Lord.
on, Jeremiah. Is that not what he says?
That's what he
He said,
said.
"For I know the plans that I have for you. They're plans to prosper you, for hope and a future, for an expected end." And I'm paraphrasing, but I didn't know then the plan of God on my life. I didn't know then, really, although it had been spoken over my life when I was 15 years old, that one day I would be a preacher. I had no idea. And back then, Reverend Dr. Martin Odom said to me, he said, "Pearl," I said, "Yes." He said, I'll never forget, I was in the youth choir. We coming up the little steps inside the church, getting ready going to the community life center. He said, "You're gonna be a preacher one day." And I looked at that man like he had 12 heads. I said, "Yeah, okay." But God knew the plans that he had for me. I didn't know. And so he blocked me for the purpose of what he called me to, even though I didn't know at that time. And so to those who might find themselves in a similar situation trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents and try to figure out, you know, where we getting money from, how we gonna pay the bills, how we gonna take care of family, especially in this given time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With everything happening with the federal government shutdown, SNAP benefits being cut off, all of those things, people are trying, after a while, desperate times calls for what?
Desperate measures.
Yeah, it calls for
Yep.
desperate measures. And so for me, that's what that time was. For me, it called for desperate measures. But God still, thanks be to God,
Yeah.
had a plan for me. And he derailed my plan, derailed it,
Yep.
my plan, that I might follow in the path. And did I follow that path immediately? No, because I still didn't know it.
Right.
I still
Right.
didn't know it. But I had to go through the things. I had to be stripped of self. I had to be stripped of my plans,
Your plan.
my plans,
Your plan.
right? I had to be
Mhm.
stripped of all of that I might be, that I might walk into my purpose and fulfill destiny that he called me to. And so, for those who might be listening, who feel like, they're at their wits' end, they don't know which way to go, and they may be ready to make a rash decision that may not be what God has intended for them, right? Because at the end of the day, we have free will. We can
Yes.
choose which way we want to go, right? We can choose what path we're going to take. We can choose who we're going to serve, even, right? The Bible says, "Choose ye this day whom you will serve." We have choices. And I thank God for free will, right? I thank God for his permissive will. I do. But in this era of my life, I am more focused on God's perfect will. See, back
Yeah.
then, I wasn't focused on his permissive will. I was just
Living.
permissively in my own will. I was permissively in my own will. But thanks be to God for grace. Come on, somebody. All right. Anyway, I done said enough. I done said enough. but 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 in this era of my life, sis, like it's about his perfect will. His perfect will. Let me tell you something. There's a shy part of me. I'm very much an introvert. I know you probably never believe that.
No, working together,
You
like,
got that,
it
right?
wasn't this yeah, this
Hmm.
level of shenanigans, and we have deep talk, but again, it's like it was private, like, it
Hmm.
wasn't, like, all inclusive, it wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of people around, like, we sat down, we that's how we came up with the whole popcorn and wine because we used to get
Hmm.
deep, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But, I can definitely see that, how you don't share yourself with everyone, and I'm slightly similar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I understand. I
Yeah.
I get it. I'm loud. Sometimes I
Same.
am obnoxious and,
Same.
like, I like to have fun, but everyone don't get this facet of
Same.
me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And we talked about that in the first episode. We
Yes.
talked about
Yes.
that. So if you didn't watch the first episode, go back and watch the first episode because in that first episode we talked about the many facets of who we are, right? I even mentioned that at times for me in my own capacity I have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And it is necessary, because being a school counselor for example, I can't be, you know, silly and all of that. I have to have a professional decorum. Being in ministry, I have to have a professional decorum. There's still a level of professionalism that has to accompany, that has to be present.
Yeah.
And it for me, when I say wear a mask, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we've turned that thinking into it being a negative thing. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily a negative thing. It's okay to have a mask on because the mask offers protection. We got that
The
in COVID.
covering. Yeah.
We got that in COVID. Come
Facts.
on. The
Facts.
mask offers
Yeah.
protection,
Yep.
right? Right?
Oh,
If
that
we've
is such a good connection.
Yeah.
That is such a good
Yeah.
connection.
Let me tell you, when I started chemo, we talked about my journey in the second
Yes.
episode, right? Um, this was back in 2016. In 2016 was also the year I was ordained as an itinerant deacon in the AME church. And in 2016, I was the only one wearing a mask. Why? I literally had a physical mask on during my ordination. And I had to wear the mask because I had to protect my
Yeah.
immune system. I couldn't afford to get sick, a flu, a cold, or anything while I was in aggressive chemotherapy. Why? Because had I not had a mask on and someone next to me who doesn't know what I'm dealing with, right, is sick. Not everybody who's sick covers their nose, covers their mouth when they sneeze or their cough or anything like that. They don't protect themselves and therefore they don't protect other people. Sometimes people are oblivious to needing to make sure
Yeah.
they cover, you know, sneeze in your arm and all of those things.
True.
COVID taught us valuable lessons.
Fact.
But in 2016, I had to wear a mask for my ordination because and I literally had like an entourage of people during my ordination that literally blocked other people from coming to hug me because by then
Mm,
I had released my story. I had just released my story that Easter. Actually, it was Good Friday when I released my story on social media about my diagnosis of stage 4 breast cancer. And so ordination was in April, right? And back then, Good Friday was in March. And so it was weeks later. And so I knew that during ordination, there was going to be so many people that wanted to come up to me, hug me, and talk about my story and that they heard and all of these things. And I had an entourage of people that blocked people from coming in my perimeter, in my specific radius, because they knew my loved ones, some family and friends, that I had to protect my immune system, but I also had to wear a mask. That mask was necessary for my protection. And so when we wear masks, sometimes It is for us for our own protection, and it's okay. It is okay to have a layer of protection, right? The Bible tells us that we have to guard our hearts,
Uh-huh. Yep.
right? And so if we leave ourselves wide open, we become vulnerable and susceptible to to the darts of the enemy, the fiery darts of the enemy. We become susceptible to decreased discernment. I mean, it's so many things to why I really deeply understand why God said for us to guard our hearts. And in guarding our hearts, we have to have because he's sometimes we're in a very vulnerable place where he's stripping us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That stripping leaves us naked and open, but it's necessary.
Necessary. Totally necessary. And I think that when I feel like you don't get this until you get a little older. You
Yeah.
have to be a little seasoned
Uh-huh.
in order to like really, really understand the significance of our God and what it is that He has for us. Taking in the word, um, learning who to keep in your circle or who you're allowing access to
Mm.
you,
Yeah.
right? What is in your proximity.
Right.
Um, Again, last episode we talked about relationships, right? And I am a huge reflective kind of person. And when we were discussing the episodes,
Mhm.
I'm thinking like, the relationship that I had within myself, how I want to
Mm.
be viewed. Um, what do I want to do
Ooh, talk
to
about that.
change perception, right?
Yes.
I remember in one of my girl groups, I I also think I probably sort of kind of put this in a book, but
Mhm.
not really to the magnitude of what I did in that workshop, right?
You talking about your book? Abana? I couldn't help it. Cause yes, y'all go get this book, A Bond Unbroken. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Because the ring light, you guys might not be able to see me like side eyeing her, but she be trying it. Oh, my point is, I did this. I did this in a workshop with some girls with and another partner. This was during my corporate career where we used to bring girls into the building and take them up to the CEO's floor and we would go into their dining hall and
Mm.
teach etiquette and just different things, right?
Yes.
But I remember we did this workshop. Maybe we went out to the school, but I remember going to the store and purchasing mirrors. And
Mm.
I would give the girls the mirrors and I would ask them, "What do you see?" And
Yeah.
in these mirrors, it was double sided. So, the mirror you see, just with like this regular view. But on the flip side, it was like magnified. So, you could probably see your
Mhm.
nostrils on the other side,
Ooh,
right?
that's good.
So it's like, this is what we see, but this is projected. This is what the world see. We have a linear view
Yeah.
when we're just looking at ourselves. But what is it that the world see? And then I connected it to like their social media pages
Yeah.
or right during that time it was MySpace.
Yeah.
Don't do the math. Like I'm really not
It's
that
okay. I heard MySpace, okay, on the Sherry Shepherd show. Somebody had mentioned that on because the cast from what's that oh the cast from
you know what? Perfect segue.
Unexpected Christmas, cause I went to the Sherry Shepherd show and they gave me a ticket to go see the movie on yesterday. The cast was there and she had talked about MySpace. That's when she had met Drake. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. So it was more so of what you put out in the media is
Mhm.
how people are going to see you.
Yeah.
So when you're cutting up with your girls, when you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing and it's only for your friends to see,
Mhm.
like, do you know that that precedes you? When people see you, that is what they're going to see.
Right.
So it kind of gave them the mind shift
Mm.
of, wow, how do I want to represent myself? And in this day and age, we say represent, right?
Yeah.
Because we are who we are.
Right.
But how do I represent myself in such a way that it aligns with God's walk for me, right? That it aligns with the purpose that he has set for me?
Mhm.
How does it manifest into what I was stripped of
Mm.
so that I can be who I am called to be,
Right.
right? So it was just all of those things. Like when we left out of that workshop, them girls were giving us hugs. Now I'm
Oh.
not even gonna say that I went to see like what they were doing on social media afterwards, but it was more so like an awakening.
Mhm.
Maybe, just maybe, at that point, they did have a realization or a connection, and in those moments, they were stripped of what they thought they wanted to be
Yes. Yeah.
versus who they wanted
Right.
to be and how people see them.
Right.
So being stripped for purpose is not a bad thing because when you tap into your purpose
Mhm.
and when you accept God and surrender,
That
to
part.
what it is that He has for you, it all comes with understanding.
Right.
But the first step is to surrender
Mhm.
or to know who God is
Right.
for yourself, accepting Jesus into your life. But I just think that this particular topic was so on point. Okay, nah, that story was on point.
Girl, you should have saw their face when I
Like,
said it in church.
you,
Like,
how do
what?
you get kicked out of a strip club that you didn't even into
But we didn't get
yet?
kicked out because they never even let us
That's
in.
my point though. Yo.
But look, God blocked it. That's what it was,
No, it totally was. I'm being
right?
cynical and I'm trying
But
to
at
think
that time, I didn't know God was blocking stuff.
like Craig, how you get fired during your day off?
How?
Okay. Shorty, how you were not able to even enter the club?
Right. Like literally. And the point to that, right? You know, when God preserves you, and we didn't know we were being preserved.
Right.
We didn't
Right.
know. We didn't know we were being preserved and protected, even though we were operating in our own permissive will, in God's permissive will. Because He gives us free will, free choice, right?
No fact. I come with another question though, right? Because you girls were still going to church on Sunday,
Yeah,
right?
girl, the next day. Oh, wait. And thank you for saying that because let me tell you, OMG, my mother,
Ooh. Uh-oh.
my mother was like, you think, if you think, because I was like, I would come creeping in the house or whatever in the wee hours of the morning, and it didn't matter what time I got in that house. My mother said, because I had moved back with my mom at that time. I was 19 years old because in my mind I was grown. I could go hang out if I want. But
A
remember,
whole adult.
but I was a mother
Right.
too, right?
Mhm.
I was a young mother. I had just had my daughter. My daughter was like going on 2, maybe 2 years old. I don't even think she was 2 at the time, right? And my mother said, if you think, if you think you're gonna sleep in and not get your tail up and get to church, I'm 19 years old. I'm repeating that for a reason. If you think you're gonna sleep in and not get your tail up, and we going to 8 o'clock service, and we might stay for 11 o'clock service. And if
That
I
was
stay for 11
payback.
o'clock service, and I definitely thought she was definitely trying to, pay me back. Um, but the point is, whether or not she knew it at the time or not, God was using her in that preservation. In that
Yeah.
preservation, He was using her because although I was still going out, hanging out, right? He used her to say to me, "Get your tail up. You're gonna go in this house, in the house of God, and you're gonna get this word." Because what God needed from me that I didn't know I needed for myself was to be fed spiritually for where He was calling me to. See, He knew the plans that He had for me. I didn't know. I just was, trying to make a couple of dollars, really, so I can go ahead
And get the baby some
and
Pampers.
get the baby some Pampers. Then I figured I probably would have figured that, I can go back a couple more times and, maybe save up and get a car, all of the things. And God said, nope, you're going to catch that
No,
bus.
and that train, and you're
And
gonna
you're
work
going
it
to
out.
humble yourself and you're going to ask your mother and she's going to buy the Pampers when you need the Pampers and you're going to learn today.
You know what though? That's one of the things, right? Because even now with my young adult, my older adult, and my minor,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know today that moms have those instincts and those
Yeah.
intuitions
Tell it.
about stuff that be going on.
Tell it.
And when they're spiritually connected,
Mm-hmm.
God may not give you the exact details,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
you know when something is not right, right?
Listen.
Call it that motherly instinct, call it the gut feeling, or call it the spiritual maturity,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Because as you develop, that maturation occurs
It's
and
true.
you hear God differently. I
Yeah.
don't want to get so churchy, right? But you know what you know, and you only know it because God told you because no one else did. I got a couple of stories about that, which is very scary. Very scary. I'm sorry, because I had a
Go
whole lot.
ahead.
It's just scary. Like,
You being a mom having this revelation or your mom? Like, what's the
well,
story?
okay, so no,
At least one of them.
me being a mom
Mhm.
having this revelation. Mm, let me just say this because I don't want to say too much. But I remember in my sleep, God awoke me and told me to check on one of my children.
Mm,
I got up and I said, I'm going to walk the dog. I must have been taking a nap because it wasn't like really like in the wee hours of the night.
mhm,
I got up, I put the dog in the car, and I drove to this location. I drove to a location
mhm.
and I circled about. When I got home, that kid was home,
Mm,
right? Maybe a week or so later,
mhm.
I said, no, she told me something and it made sense. I said, so I already knew. Because at this time, I got up and I did this. When I got home, you were already here. And when I saw the look on your face when I came in and you said, where were you? And I just said, I lamented and said, I went to take the dog out. I said, so are you just getting back and who were you with? She said, Mommy, I felt weird that you was asking the questions, which is why I'm telling you exactly what happened now.
Mm.
I just had to praise God,
Come
sis.
on. My
And it
God.
allowed me to be more aware
Mhm.
of my motherly instincts, right?
Mm.
Knowing when God is telling me something about my child
Come on.
or children,
Or children,
right?
yeah.
Or when he's blocking something. So one of my things now too is if I go to do something and I expect it to be a certain way and it doesn't happen,
Mhm,
guess what?
mhm.
God got better things.
Come on.
It wasn't supposed to
Come
be
on.
that way. It
Mhm,
wasn't supposed to happen like this.
mhm.
So any type of shift
Right,
in anything that I'm trying to do,
right,
I'm not getting upset.
right, right.
God got something better for me.
But you have to get to the place in your spiritual walk to
No,
have that
fact.
blessed assurance and knowing that God, you are protecting me from something
Yeah.
and or you don't want me to have access to something. Maybe I haven't reached the point of maturation at that time.
Yep.
Or it could be a very but you have to be in the spiritual place to understand and know that God's rejection is also his protection.
For sure. And his no might not necessarily be an all the way no. It might be not right now.
Come on.
You know why? Because one, you're not mature or spiritually mature,
Hmm.
but one, you're not mature enough to handle it. Because, sis, I'll circle back to okay, what if you would have gotten in that club?
Right.
What if that night some traffickers were there?
Yep.
Right? What if you never made it back home?
Right. So many different scenarios. And so I thank God for his rejection because it definitely was my protection because he had plans for me that I didn't know.
But also the covering of your mom
Hmm.
the next day. Get up, you going to church.
Hmm.
She knew your spirit needed to be fed because you was
I needed to,
outside.
oh, Lord of the land. I needed it. Lord, thank you. And she most likely was in the middle of the night praying, up praying.
So I
Thank God for a praying mama.
know for sure, which is why mamas, mama. Okay, that was never mind. Okay, mamas.
Where's that from? Now you already know I know it's from a TV show or something.
I'm leaving it alone because I
Okay,
got a message.
oh, but wait, before you get there, I gotta share. So remember I said it was myself, my god sister, my cousin, and some of my cousin's friends, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
And so how God blocked us from going. It was just the three of us. Like I said, we were attitudinal. But as God would have it, my god sister is getting ready to give her initial sermon tomorrow
Wait,
on
how they
Sunday.
do it? How they do it?
And so God knew what he had in store for us for our future. And there was a path that he would not allow us to go
Yeah.
down, even though his permissive will was there.
Yep.
We just we could very well, and I thank God for his perfect will. I really, really, really genuinely thank God for his perfect will. Because his care and love for us of what he was calling us to was greater than what we knew. It was bigger than us.
Yes.
It was so much bigger than us. And our little need for a couple of $100 here or there. I'm just being
No, because you know what? Like you said, you might have went back just a couple of more times.
yeah,
And you never know where that could have led you.
yeah,
And just the thirst. God said he wanted you to thirst for him.
come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right? So mamas. Okay. So a couple of people said that, but I'm feeling like just because you made me think about it, like maybe it was baby boy and Jody calling to his mama
I think
when
so. I think so. That whole scene is playing before me. Yep, I think so.
Okay, anyway.
Uh-huh.
So I say
Mhm.
this, mamas,
Mhm.
protect your babies.
Yeah.
Protect them with
Mhm.
interceding
Mhm.
for them, calling out the will of God over their lives and just covering them, right? Because they do not know. They're still drinking milk. They're not ready for the meat. So you got to be that meat for them,
Mhm.
right?
And heed to the obedience. When God wakes your spirit, he nudges your spirit to pray in the middle of the night. Get up out of that bed, pray, roll over, pray, pray. Whatever you got to
No,
do,
for
because the
sure.
obedience will be worth the sacrifice. In fact, it's better than the sacrifice.
And you know what? And you will know it. Once you're obedient, you will know exactly why you were praying.
Mhm.
You will know exactly why you were praying.
Mhm.
So I just say that to say you have to be aware to the instinct, to your spirit woman
Mhm.
that is inside of you.
And period. And speaking of the spirit woman inside of you, I want to introduce this author before we end this episode. This particular book, Systology, by Rochelle Hagan. I'm going to bring it a little closer. You can go and follow her on social media. I believe this book is available on Amazon. It's Systology, When the Holy Spirit Breathes on Black Women's Stories. And this um, particular chapter, it definitely aligns to what we're sharing today. This particular chapter talks about it's the first movement. And when you get the
Mhm.
book, you'll understand what I'm saying. This first movement is the stretch, right? When the yes hurts.
'Cause she got kicked out of the strip club.
This
Couldn't
was
even
like,
enter.
listen,
He said no.
uh,
He said no. God touched his heart.
he did. God was using that bouncer, and I didn't
Yeah.
even know. I didn't even know he was using that bouncer for us. Come on.
Yep.
It says obedience never comes without a pull. The scripture that she refers to here is Luke 1:45. Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her. She says, I did not expect obedience to feel like this. Nobody tells you that saying yes to God might stretch you until your skin feels thin and your prayers feel hoarse. But that is what a yes does. It pulls you until you become unrecognizable to people who only knew you before the oil. Come on.
Before the
Whoa! I
oil.
feel like shouting just on that alone.
Wait, look, if I had on a shoe, I'd take it off and throw it.
Come on.
Okay?
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. That pull until you become
Mm.
unrecognizable. So the people that you used to hang around with or that you're comfortable even now, maybe where you are right now and hanging out with, God is ready to stretch you until you are at the point of being unrecognizable. And she says here, she said, I said yes to God, to seminary, to ministry, to dreams I once buried and dare not name. And when I said yes, life did not get easier,
Mm.
it got heavier.
So that's a whole word today. And let me just say, sis brought this book out. I ordered it about 3 to 5 minutes before the show. This is something I'm definitely going to read. This is something that I'm going to be able to connect my livelihood, my lifestyle, the relationships that I had to make with the women in this book.
Mhm.
So go out and purchase it. We might even do a book club, something on this. We're going to touch on these topics because these are our women speaking about everyday life,
Mhm.
how they answered the call to
Yeah.
yes. And like
That
she said,
obedience.
that obedience. But life doesn't get easier. In fact, it does get harder
It get
because
heavier, she says.
she said it gets heavier. I lament to say it does get harder
Mhm.
because I know when I decided that I'm not going to do this and I gave my yes,
Mm.
can I tell you, you can still have on the full armor of God and it's going to protect you. But in those moments, you may not feel like you're being protected. You may feel like everything is coming at you from each and every different way. But the secret sauce comes right from your lips. It's praying to God and asking Him to sustain you, to
Mhm.
keep you steadfast
Mhm.
on His word,
Mhm.
to keep you grounded
Mhm.
so that your feet do not shift,
Yeah.
so that your mind does not waver,
That's right.
right?
That's
And so
right.
that your abilities, everything that you use to put and move you forward,
Come on.
He blesses them
Listen,
so that
we are
you
being
are not
stripped
touched,
for purpose.
stripped for purpose.
We are being stripped for purpose. And we thank God for the stripping because it leaves us naked, it leaves us vulnerable, but it's there. It is there that God deals with us. And it's there that He clothes us. He clothes us.
He closes us in empowerment and encouragement and strength, right? He gives us everything we need. Everything that we need is already inside of us. It's up to us to be responsible enough to tap into it and pull it out so that we can walk how He designed us to
Mhm,
walk.
mhm. Amen.
Yeah, that part.
So
Yeah.
get the book. Our time is up. Get the book, Sistology, Rochelle Higgins. Uh, one of my dear Reverend sisters, Sistology, Reverend Rochelle Higgins. Follow her on social. I look forward and perhaps maybe we'll invite her to come on the podcast.
Ah,
Hello. She can
uh,
speak to the book. I'm excited as we wrap up this episode. I'm excited. Y'all go get this book. Follow her, Rochelle Hagen's Sistology. When the Holy Spirit breathes on Black women's stories. You heard my story of how he listen, he blocked me from stripping to be stripped for purpose. Amen.
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 And amen. Well, the time is up. She made me think it.
And I'm about to do it. So today, we hope that you receive everything that God wanted you to hear. He used us, our mouths, our shenanigans to cut through to you
Yes.
so that you can gain an understanding and know that you too are stripped for purpose. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us. Like, share, comment. Be blessed.
God bless.